All right, I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Nathaniel Sawyer. I'm a Central Coast activist here. A lot of people know me as a Black Lives Matter leader. I'm also a graduate student at Middlebury Institute of International Studies. I study international policy and development with a specialization in human trafficking, migration, and human security. And I am a admitted clinical psychology doctoral student. I am honored and privileged to be here to speak to you via Zoom. I wish it was in person. And I have been humbled and honored to serve you as an activist in every city, almost in every city in California. And I was going to show some videos. I'm going to do a little different from the first ones, just in case there's some people that were on here for the last one. And then I'll talk some more and listen to you. Ask any questions that you may have for me. Answer any questions you may have. 1 second. Let me share screen. Instead of going through my introduction, I'm gonna give you a little bit of the speech that I had it was called Juneteenth in Carmel, where we were pretty much turning the city black for a day.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun.
I want to listen to that real quick.
Weight on my shoulder.
That's DJ Cosmo. He's a Seaside resident. You may know the rapper Justice. He's in Seaside as well.
A bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
I'm going to start with the words of my brother Langston Hughes, and I'm going to need your help with it. So when I point at you, I need you all to shout, "America never was America to me." So when I point at you, I want you to say, "America was never America to me." Let's practice.
America was never America to me.
Again.
America was never America to me.
One more time.
America was never America to me.
All right, wait for me to point now. I got you. All right. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free.
America was never America to me.
Let America be the dream, the dreamer's dream. Let it be that great strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme. That any man be crushed by one above.
America was never America to me.
Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath. Where opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe.
America was never America to me.
There's never been...
I'm showing that because my mission is to negotiate, demonstrate, resist. Negotiate, demonstrate, resist. I was gonna show some protests and things like that, but because of time, I'd rather, give you a little bit more of my backstory and then answer some questions. I say negotiate, demonstrate resistance because Martin Luther King did that. That was his literally what he said in Selma to John Lewis when he met him at 21 years old. Um, John Lewis had his own thing he was doing, and then Martin Luther came down with his colleagues, and he said, "Hey, we have a better way." And John Lewis didn't like what Martin Luther King had to say. He respected him, but he didn't really like what they were about to do because he knew that it would cause a little bit more harm to the community. A lot more Caucasian people at the time did not, like protesting and seeing Black people rise up like that. So I am mimicking that in everything that I do, negotiate, which is being in the city council chambers, talking to congressmen, senators, demonstrate. We have things like that where we talk about our culture. We march, we protest, we rally. And then if the negotiation and demonstration, if the negotiations don't work, if they don't see what we're talking about, we resist and we repeat the process until something happens. You may see some things on Facebook, on your social media, where you see every now and then, or even in the news media where you see some folks march, protest, things like that. But the things behind the scenes is what really happens. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to Congressman Panetta or Senator Bill Mourning or John Laird or Wendy Rudolph, Steve McShane, Ian Oglesby, even the pastors and all those folks, just getting them to see that they need to be bringing true equity to African Americans, Latinx, Asian, Caucasian, low income Caucasian folks have more similarities with Black people than they realize. Low income Caucasian folks have more similarities with the Latinx community than they realize. The true battle is the low income and middle class versus the rich, but that's a different story. But in my opinion, and this is just me getting as much education as I can have, plus being poor at one point, and then being, I'm not rich, but I'm happy. I have a wife. I'm a leader in some aspects to some folks, and I know I'm gonna eventually have the money I need to survive. But I came from low income situations. I remember growing up, rats, roaches, and holes in the wall. I remember my mom being with every dude that she could find that can help take care of us. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. My dad died before I was born. I got held back in kindergarten. I was in special education in kindergarten because the school didn't have ADHD back then, and so they decided to throw every kid that they couldn't control or whatnot in a thing like that. I got held back in 6th grade because I failed because I couldn't pass 6th grade math, and now I'm about to graduate with a master's degree. I'm about to get a PhD. So anything is possible. You put your mind to it. Yeah, student loans, they suck. But people like me are going to try to lower those for people like you. I'm not in politics. I'm a policy specialist, or I fight advocacy for you. I am an activist. I don't believe in saying fluffy words. I believe in actions. I have been an activist since I was 19 years old. And I'm 27 now. Just yesterday, literally, I'm doing something every day. Just yesterday, I was talking to 6 brothers. I call them brothers, but African-American men. I was the youngest in the room. My friend Maddox Haberdasher that you saw in the video, sitting down, and some others, Brandon Carter, and so many others. We were just talking about how we can build Black wealth and how we can bring equity to our people. It's okay to be in uncomfortable situations. I have some white allies that sometimes they're like, Nate, sometimes the things you may say are real uncomfortable. And I'm like, good. They have to be uncomfortable. It's time for people to be uncomfortable and just speak the truth. How do you feel? Only 50 years ago, we were drinking from different water fountains, sitting in the back of the bus. Only 80 something years ago, Loving versus Virginia, where it was illegal for me to marry a white woman. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we're changing the laws on the outside, but we have to change them systemically. We have to be the one, we have to have Black, brown, and white people with the mindset to bring equity, diversity, and true inclusion into the city council chambers, Those folks have to be the politicians. We need to take out the old heads that have been there when those terrible policies were implemented and replace them with people that are revolutionary. You all are rural revolutionaries. You all can do anything that I do. Literally, I'm a doer. I'm not a planner. I'm terrible at planning, but I'm learning to be a better planner and leader and things like that. But if I have something on my mind, I hit up people that are smarter than me or have better skills, and we make a flyer. And we put it out on social media, Facebook. You'd be surprised how many people will be like, "Oh, I'm interested. Let's go." And then boom, you have a rally, you have a march. It's not that hard, honestly. There's 124 people on this call. You just imagine if all 124 of you guys decided to make a WhatsApp group or a Signal group or whatever and say and something bad happens in Seaside where the law enforcement officer shot an elderly man. I'm not even gonna say color for no reason. He just shot him and no repercussions happen. You people are power. Fred Hampton, a Black Panther who got shot by the FBI, said that people are power. You guys are the ones that can change society, change culture. There's a lot of corrupt stuff happening on our peninsula, just like all over the world, but just particularly in your own city. I remember getting called to Seaside by the Monterey County NAACP and chief of police to calm down a protest. It was in a couple of years back, like not a year back, and I just came back from a protest in Marina. I was tired. I still have the text, photos, videos, stuff like that. And I immediately jumped in my car, drove to Seaside. I'm in Marina, drove to Seaside and stuff, and got there. All these cops were in their tactical gear. I'm talking about not just Seaside cops from Salinas, Pacific Grove, everywhere from all over the county were ready to and I was like, what's going on? In my mind, I'm like, what's going on? Is the city burning down? Like what? And then I get into the middle of Seaside, a whole bunch of people, like hundreds of folks there. I see Ian Oglesby, some pastor, and they can't calm down their own folks. I'm not even originally from the peninsula area, and I have more connection to the people than some of the leaders, but most of the leaders here. And it's because I connect with people. I understand where they're coming from. Jesus, when he walked, to every city and every part of his area, he wasn't necessarily from there. Martin Luther King wasn't from the places that he was fighting for. Sometimes you have to, your backyard, my backyard is the US. I go where I'm called, you know what I mean? Like I'm here because God put me here. I'm a religious person. But if God called me somewhere else to be, I'll be there. And when I got to go back to the Seaside event, when I got there were some people hollering "All Lives Matter" to leaders, Black leaders. And I'm talking about young folks were just shaking their head like, and I'm young too, and they were just like, oh my gosh, no, this is about Black Lives Matter. George Floyd got killed in front of our faces. This is another Rodney King. This is another Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all these things. Ahmaud Arbery, all these, and they weren't connecting with what the issue was. They were just trying to make it political. I took the mic. They saw me because when I step on scene, I kick down doors and I make people step out of the way if they ain't doing what's right. And I first said Black Lives Matter, white, Black, Latinx, Asian, everybody said yes. Everybody riled up. People that were angry and literally probably going to do some bad things to get in trouble, calmed down. We marched in the city. We looked at the people that are politically in power and we said change things. Make sure since we have a law enforcement, it ain't going nowhere. How about the people in your community or the people that are hired? I don't know if you know this, and it's just a little education thing. Law enforcement officers have high school diplomas. Most of them don't have college education, and they get paid. I don't know if you know this, $85,000 plus a year with a high school diploma. Excuse me, while I was a janitor at one point, and I got paid $10.50. But this is the funny thing is that I was a Peace Corps volunteer before that, where I was fighting human trafficking and child labor in Quito, Ecuador, having dinner with ambassadors and all these fancy rich folks. And then I come back, and I couldn't find a job at one point. No one would hire me because I think the way I do. I stand up for people who I see are oppressed. I don't assimilate, I integrate. And so I had to work as a janitor to take care of my family at one point. I had to work as a welder. Literally, the boss said, the guy that was the boss, he said, "Can you work a tape measure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm about to go get a master's degree. I think I can handle a tape measure." Those, like, I've had to do what I've had to do to survive, just so I could be an activist and protest and help people in the community. I've sat on the board of your NAACP of Monterey County, literally a month into the community, because I know how to make things happen. I would love to answer any of your questions. I have a lot of stories and things like that, but with the time that we have, I'm not probably going to be able to get to all of them. But I do want to answer any of your questions that you may have, anything. If you disagree with me, I'll answer. Whatever. Just you put it in the chat and just write down questions. Whatever you want to know.
Thank you. You know what? Thank you. I appreciate this, Nate. Let's get this started. Can everybody give them a good morning in the chat at least? Let's start off there. Let's let them know that the chat is working. Okay, so we know we got a working chat. We know we've got 118 people in here. That must mean at least one person has a question. And if not, I'm going to ask a question in these last 3 minutes of why we got you here. So I'm going to give just a moment, right? Because I want to hear the student voice first. That's the priority. So any questions out there?
Was it hard being the eldest child? Yeah, it was, because I saw a lot of trauma that that my mom went through. And for a while, I didn't like my mom until I got older. And I'm sure a lot of you young folks can relate, and older folks too, and you don't really understand until you have your own kids. Let's just say that. I have a 7-year-old. How do you get connected with the people? I looked for the groups, the Democratic clubs and NAACPs, went to different churches to get to know folks. I just added random folks on Facebook. Stuff like that. I just really just looked and had conversations. I met the political folks just through Monterey Peninsula is so powerful that you have so many events happen, and you're always meeting folks. And I'm really, really a people person, where I'll be like, "Hey, my name is Nathaniel Sawyer. It's nice to meet you. X, Y, and Z." And yeah, let me see. I'm gonna put my email, by the way, in the chat as well. So if you ever think about having a protest, or anything like that, I'll be happy to help you. How long did it take you to become an activist? I've been an activist since I was 19. How does being an activist make you feel? Empowered. It's made me a leader. I have more student loans than I have money. And it's a lot of student loans, but I'm able to talk to senators and congressmen. I think actually tomorrow I have a conversation with Senator Bill Monning at a university about systemic racism.
Another question in the chat is, what really pushed you to be an activist?
What pushed me to be an activist was that if you want to see change, do it yourself. Sometimes I don't wait for people to change things for me. I do it. I kick down doors. There's a lot of people say, "Why didn't you do it 10 years ago?" 10 years ago, I was 17. You got to crawl before you walk. And so I'm 27 now. I'm able to do a lot more. Let's see.
So Nate, maybe I can ask you a follow-up question on that, because I'm just thinking the audience here, we're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, right? So what advice would you give those young adults to share their voice and speak their truth so they could be part of that change and part of that effort that you're talking about today?
Oh, thank you. That's a good question. Honestly, use your technology that you have. When I was growing up, there wasn't Facebook yet until later. you know, we had MySpace and stuff, but we didn't know how to use it. You have TikTok, all kinds of stuff that, you know, and so I would say use that, put what you feel out there, rally, connect, use WhatsApp, use your messenger, start planning things. You don't have to be protests and rallies, but start having educational events just like this. Zoom is amazing. You know, get with your teachers, get with Aaron Sanders, people like that, and be like, hey, I would like to discuss women equality, Latinx community, and our whatever it may be. You can do it. You have the power right now. You can be a bigger leader than me at 14, 15 years old if you work together, if you find the right people who connect with you. Let's see. What if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger version of you? Don't be a butt. You know, honestly, I was kind of angry at times. I wasn't patient. I have to realize that I'm blessed. The youth is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you have a lot of time to screw up, and you can make a lot of mistakes and learn from them. You can make mistakes and learn from them at any age, but at youth, you know, it's a very great time. And there's a curse because you don't realize that you have a big future ahead of you because you're only thinking about today. And that's my basic concept to that. What I know we almost have to go, but what college do you go to? I go to Middlebury Institute of International Studies. I study international policy and development with a concentration in human trafficking, migration, human security. I was a human trafficking coordinator for a little bit for your county. And I'm going to be a clinical psychologist so I can have a private practice and hire people like you in different aspects of different things. Yeah, I truly appreciate you having me here. I wish it was longer so we can really get deep and in depth, but hey, maybe we'll have another type of thing like this. And I would love to just talk with you. Maybe we'll meet in person one day. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for giving up your time. Really appreciate you being here. I'll leave this meeting open for the